Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. So today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 6. Okay. So before we proceed with this chapter, anyone has any doubt from the previous chapters? Any doubt? Okay, no issues. So if no doubts, perfectly fine. You can, if you have a doubt, you can ask at any point in time. There is no issues in that. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you please explain again the haphazard sampling and block sampling?
Haphazard sampling and block sampling.
Yes.
Okay.
और
Now, yes.
अ, अ, जो मुझे उसका नाम याद नहीं आ रहा है एक्चुअली। वो एक और मेथड थी ना, यूनिट से रिलेटेड।
Monetary unit.
मॉनिटरी यूनिट, यस सर।
Monetary unit. Okay. No issues. I'll explain.
ओके सर।
See, what is monetary unit sampling? Monetary unit sampling is kind of a sampling where you assign weights to the samples. You can assign any type of weights to the sample, but I place some weights on the monetary amount. Okay. So, for example, let's say I will place more weightage to the higher values or larger values, higher numbers compared to the smaller one. Okay. Let's say I will, when I'll test the samples or when I'll select the samples, I will pick up the high value sample first because I have provided them the weightage first. And then I will select, smaller values if I have some bandwidth. Or if I will first select, bigger customers for the company. I will select samples from the bigger clients of the company, and then I will select from the normal clients or clients where the turnover of the company is lesser. That is a monetary value, where you are prioritizing or assigning a weight to a particular unit or
यस
a section. Okay. Now coming to haphazard. Understand haphazard, if I talk about, it is something like, you assign, like for example, in monetary unit sample, you assign weights. In some other technique, you do something else. When you do nothing, just select the samples, not even randomly. Let's say I selected 3 from here, 2 from here, and everything from, like haphazardly, I select the samples without applying any technique, without applying anything, like any structured technique or any logic. It's a haphazard selection.
यस सर।
Now, people ask, what is the difference between random selection and haphazard selection? Both appears to be same, but both are different. In random selection, I select the samples based on the random numbers generated. So random numbers generated and sample selected on the basis of those random numbers is a random selection. And when I select anything, this sample, that sample, this sample, that sample, that is a haphazard selection.
ओके यस सर।
And comes the block selection. Okay. Block selection is kind of, you select a particular category or you select a particular block or kind of or a particular group. Okay. So you divide items into a block. Okay. This block of 10 items, this is block of 20 items. This is a block of 100 items. I will select this block. So block selection. And then again, involves some technique, some basis of categorizing samples within the block.
हाँ सर, ये ब्लॉक्स के अंदर हम यानी सिमिलर आइटम्स को रखते हैं या फिर ऐसे ही उठा के ब्लॉक्स बना देते हैं?
Basically, when I talk about block system, it is not widely used, not because
हाँ, इसीलिए मैं पूछ रही थी।
it is not used. Reason because there is no specific way to create a block, and that would also not give you a good results when you select block technique. Okay.
ओके।
So basically, what it is a method, but it is not an appropriate, not a widely used method. Now, there is an evolved method from a block selection kind of, you can say, is a stratification. In stratification, what I do is I divide my samples based on the based on the each strata. That is a category. I divide my samples into certain categories. Okay, this is the samples where the clients are high value clients. These are the samples where the clients are low value clients. And I select sample randomly from each of the category
यस
or
सर।
something like that. Or I use monetary unit selection for each of the category, for each of the strata. So that is more evolved version of sample selection that is used widely.
सर स्ट्रेटा वर्ड्स को हम रैंडम सिलेक्शन में भी यूज करते हैं ना? एक्चुअली मैंने पढ़ा है इसीलिए.
So strata is kind of, bifurcation, so category creation. When you
Yes.
create a strata, you are creating a category kind of thing, and then on that particular category you can apply any method.
Okay.
Even random.
Okay sir, clear sir. Thank you sir.
Yeah. Any further doubts? Any doubt, guys? Okay. If no further doubts, let's proceed with today's chapter. I hope you guys have read this chapter, chapter number 6, completion and review. Now, what is covered in this chapter and what we are going to discuss? Basically, this chapter consists of, three important aspects. One is a subsequent event, that is your SA 560. Second is a going concern, which is your SA 570. And third one is a written representations, which is SA 580. So these are the three main and important essays which are covered in this particular chapter, or topics that we need to discuss. Okay. Again, you have study material, in study material the charts have been given. We will discuss those charts. We will discuss go through the study material as and when we are closing the topic. Okay. So we will start with the first topic, or first essay in this particular chapter, which is SA 560, that is subsequent events. Again, I will request everyone to please prepare the notes with me, because this will help you to revise the topic a day before exam. And please prepare in your own way, in your own words. If you want to add something more, please go ahead. There is no restriction on that. It should be just you are able to understand the notes a day before of your exam. So that is the first one is SA 560, which is subsequent events. Now, before I proceed to this particular essay, can anyone tell me what is subsequent events? What are subsequent events? Anyone?
Sir, subsequent events are the events which occurring between the date of the date of the financial statement and the auditor's report date.
Okay. Okay, good. So events between the financial statement and the date of audit report. Okay. So, okay. Anyone else would like to add something to this? No. Okay, no issues. So I will explain this with one timeline. Basically, we will explain, we will understand this timeline, and then we will discuss what are the events and what is required to be done for those events. So let's say we have our financial year start on 31st March 1st April 2023. So this is where my financial year starts. 1st April 2023 financial year start. Let's say this is somewhere my 31st March 23, oh sorry, 24. This is the financial year close. Okay. Now over here I have another date, which is the date of audit report. Let's say date when I signed the audit report, that is 36/24, date of audit report. Now then I have another date over here is 31/7/24. This is the date of issue of FS, financial statement. And then there is a beyond that. Now, the question comes is, like just now we discussed what is a subsequent event. Okay. So what we discussed is from the date of financial statement close to the date of audit report, okay, is the subsequent event period, or events happening in that period are the subsequent events. Okay, so I will say that events happening are subsequent events for this particular purpose. But what about this particular date? From the date of issue of sign of audit report till the date of issue of FS, what I will call this particular period or the events occurring in this period. What I will call here. Are these not subsequent events? What about events occurring after the date of issuance of my financial statement? Are these not subsequent events? Okay, so there are three different, already we have one kind of events which are from the start of your financial statement till your closure of financial statement. These are the normal events which you audit. So events already covered under the audit. Events covered under audit. Now tell me, what about the events for from date of audit report till date of issuance of financial statement and beyond that? What you will call? Anyone? Okay, let's not name these events, but tell me what is the auditor's responsibility with respect to events occurring on these particular timelines? What should I do as an auditor if some event happens after the issuance of date of audit report? Come on.
Then, sir, auditor should check whether the events occurring after the date of audit report has been disclosed in the financial statements or not.
But I am talking about date of after events occurring after the date of audit report.
Okay.
Means once audit report has been issued, but financial statement are not issued. So audit report has been issued, financial statement are not issued to the public. What you will do for that particular period?
I will look into the effect that the event is bringing to the financial statements, whether it is affecting my audit opinion that I have already expressed, whether the true and fair view is affected. I will look into that, and accordingly, I will make a reservation or ask management to take my permission or inform me about issuance of this audit report in public domain.
Okay. Yes. So, absolutely correct. Now, we need to understand what is the auditor's objective with respect to these events. Now, when I talk about first events occurring after the date of financial statement and before the date of auditor report, and if those events require adjustment, then whether they are adjusted in the financial statements or not, that is the one. So, for this particular type of events, here auditor is required to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that whether the events that are occurring between this particular period over here, events happening which are subsequent events, okay, whether these events require adjustment. So auditor is required to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that whether events between date of financial statement and date of audit report require adjustment / disclosure in the financial statement, and whether they are appropriately reflected. Whether are they appropriately reflected? Okay, so that is the one thing that auditor needs to do. Now, when I write that auditor needs to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, that means we need to do testing. It is not something that we can, okay, just close it with an inquiry. No. The purpose here is to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, means to obtain reasonable assurance, and for that you need to perform the procedures. Basically, these are the events that we call adjusting events. Remember something, adjusting, non-adjusting events? You might have heard somewhere else.
The accounting standards and
Yes. So the conditions or evidence of that event was already existing at the date of financial statement. Those events require adjustment and disclosure. So when I say whether events between the date or require adjustment and disclosure, these are the events I'm talking about. That events occurring after the balance sheet date that require adjustment. So this is nothing but events occurring after the balance sheet date, or you can call it adjusting events. Otherwise, why would you give an adjustment of an event that is happening after the date of financial statement in the financial statement, unless and until your applicable financial reporting framework doesn't ask you to do, you will not. Technically, transactions happening after the date of financial statement or after 31st March are not required to be considered for preparing the financial statement unless your financial reporting framework asked you. And in case of your AS, that is events occurring after the balance sheet date, adjusting events, your financial reporting framework says you to perform those adjustments. And when we talk about SF 560, we are going to audit those adjustments. Clear? Any doubt till now? Okay. So for this particular event, I am required to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. That is there. Now, what about the events that are after the date of audit report, but before the issuance of financial statement? Now, for these particular type of events, I need to obtain, first of all, understanding whether they will cause me to amend my audit report if known earlier. First of all, I need to obtain understanding that whether these events would have caused me to amend my audit report if I would have known those events earlier. If yes, then I need to respond appropriately. So only those events that would have caused me to amend my audit report. Events that would have caused to amend AR. Only for those events, not any other event I'm talking about, only for those events, what I need to do is I need to first of all respond appropriately. I need to understand those events. I need to respond appropriately. So respond appropriately. Now, what is respond appropriately? We will understand subsequently. We will understand in some time that how to respond to those events. But as of now, just park it that we need to respond to those events appropriately. Okay. Now, this is the events occurring after the date of audit report. Okay. Just understand one thing. When I talk about events occurring after the date of audit report, it is date. I am talking about events which are even beyond my date of issuance of FS, but the things were available to me at the date of financial statement. Evidence was available to me, or some kind of conditions was already existing, and we will see that. Okay. For that also, we will see what are the conditions and what are the evidence I'm talking about in a while. So this is how, preliminary, the auditor is required to do or required to understand these events. Any doubt till now? Okay. If no doubts, let's proceed further. Now, we will target one by one each and every category, and we will understand what is required to be done. Number one, events that are happening after the financial year close, but before the date of audit report. My first category is the events occurring between the date of financial statement and the date of audit report. Now, as we discussed, that auditor is required to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence for events that are occurring after date of financial statement but before the date of audit report. For that, auditor is required to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Okay. How will you obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence? What you will do to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence? Can anyone tell me? Pretty simple, straightforward. Anyone? No? Okay. It is pretty straightforward and simple to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. What I will do, I will design and perform audit procedures. Simple. I will design and perform audit procedures. We have discussed designing the audit procedures, SA 315, and then SA 330. We have also discussed about collection of the evidence in chapter number 5 based on other SA 500 series that we have discussed. So designing and performing audit procedures, that is something we will do here to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Okay. And we will also perform some additional procedures that SA 560 requires us. Okay. That SA 560 requires us to do. Now, which are these procedures? Can anyone tell me some specific procedures that you think you will perform for the events that are occurring after the date of financial statement but before date of audit report? How will you audit them? If a general question, how will you audit these events? Anyone? Okay, Pooja, no issues. Anyone? How will you audit? As we discussed, that our target is to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence whether these are adjusted as per the applicable financial reporting framework. How will you do that? I will say simply, first of all, if you want to understand that whether they are adjusted or not as required, first you need to identify those events. Identification, the first step. Yes or no? So you will first identify the events, you will obtain the understanding of those events, and in order to identify the events, either you have to perform procedure or you will ask the management, tell me how you have identified, first of all, to give impact in your financial statement, how you have identified that. Because preparation and presentation of the financial statement is responsibility of management. So first they have to identify, first they have to give impact in their financial statement, then I will audit. So I need to ask them, how do you identify these events? So you need to understand or obtain understanding that how management is identifying those subsequent events. Obtain understanding of procedures performed by management for identification of subsequent events. Simple. How management is identifying subsequent events. Then I will inquire management. Okay, this is the procedures you perform. This is how you identify the events. Now tell me list of events that require adjustment out of these. Okay, I will ask management, okay, these are the procedures you perform, but have you identified any after performing the procedures, or you have not identified any? So after performance of the procedure, which are the events that have been identified, or whether any subsequent events, have occurred which affects your financial statement, which may affect your financial statement. And then I may additionally, if let's say for example management says no, we don't, we have not identified any of the event, then what? In that case, if management has not identified any event, in that case you need to go and check minutes of the meeting, whether management is hiding something, whether management is not disclosing to you. Is there any event that management thinks is not required, does not require any adjustment, but it does require? Is management correct? So you need to read minutes of meetings, various meetings that we have discussed in past also, that committee meetings, board meetings. So even if you have minutes of available, some meetings with the external legal counsel or in-house legal counsel, then those meetings also. So if you have minutes available, then read, you will come to know about any such events. Okay, there is one more area where you can check about any such event. Can anyone tell me that which is that area where you can check that is there any event that should be adjusted or that management is required to adjust in the financial statement? Anyone? A source, I'm talking about a source from where you can identify such events. No?
Sir, entities interim financial statements also can be verified, no? If they
Yes.
have been prepared.
Yes, absolutely correct. So I was talking about that only. See, I have purposefully, kept this date of audit report on 36. Okay. But let's say, for example, this date of audit report was something beyond 36, let's say 31/7. By that time, you have already available, the quarter one financial statements. If that company is a listed entity. Okay. So by that time, you might have, a quarter one financial statement available or limited review available. So from that also, you can identify, is there any such event? So reading of entity's latest subsequent interim financial statement. Subsequent interim financial statement. That will be your quarterly, that will be something else. If management prepares for the group reporting also, something, some kind of reportings, that also you can refer to. So those are such financial statement that will give you a clarity, is there any event which is adjusted in those financial statement, in the interim financial statement, but not adjusted in the your year-end financial statement, and the evidence or the condition of that event was already present as of 31st March. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, by this way, you need to identify those events. And then once you identify the events, okay, you need to obtain understanding whether those are reflected appropriately or not. Whether those are reflected appropriately or not. Okay. So after identification, you need to verify whether the events, subsequent events that we are talking about, have been adjusted or not. Whether subsequent events have been or that require adjustment have been adjusted appropriately as per applicable financial reporting framework. So I need to check whether as per the financial reporting framework they have been adjusted or not. So this is for my events that are occurring after the date of financial statement but before the date of audit report. Okay. Now we will jump to a next category, that is the events or the facts which auditor come to know about after the date of audit report but before the date of issuance of financial statement. Rather than calling them the events, I call them the facts. Facts which become known to auditor after date of audit report but before date of issuance of FS. Okay. Now, as we discussed, that auditor is not required to perform any procedure the way he is required to perform for the events we talked about here, these subsequent events. So here auditor is only required to respond appropriately. There is no obligation on the auditor to perform any procedure. Responding appropriately and performing procedures are two different things. First of all, understand that. So I will write here that auditor has no obligation to perform any procedure for these events. Auditor has no obligation to perform any procedure, audit procedure, regarding financial statement after the date of audit report. Okay. Now you will ask me, sir, then what is to respond appropriately? Okay. Now, I'm not saying to perform any audit procedure, but I'm saying to respond appropriately means that when a fact which is become known to the auditor, so usually when you perform procedure, you gather evidence to identify things. But here I'm talking about that fact which is coming to you and you become aware about that fact somehow. Let's say it is in the news, management tells you, or without performing the procedure, you are getting aware about that fact. Okay, so if you are getting aware about that fact due to some sources or due to some other means, in that case, once you are aware, then you need to perform something or you need to respond appropriately. And only for those events that would have caused you to amend the audit report. Let's say you came to know that, okay, management has invested in a company and that company is doing good. Now, that event is not something that would cause me to amend my audit report. Okay, so the discussions were happening before, let's say closing of the year, management was planning to infuse money in a particular subsidiary, which happened after the year, perfectly fine. There is no issue in that. Company is working perfectly fine. There was no additional disclosure requirement. This particular information will not cause me to amend my audit report. If that information is not causing me to amend, there is no particular further action that is required from my side. So again, I'm talking about that events or facts that would cause auditor to amend audit report, only those facts we will be considering over here, nothing else. Clear? Okay, so auditor has no obligation to perform procedure, but I would write here, but auditor, okay, shall respond appropriately to facts known to him. Now, this is very important. Okay, that would have caused the auditor to amend the audit report. Okay, so if that is a scenario, then only I will go and respond appropriately. Now, what is respond appropriately? We need to understand. So I'll do a star mark over here and we will understand what is respond appropriately. Respond appropriately means that first you will discuss the matter with the management. What is that event? Why it is getting, why management has not disclosed that event earlier? Why management withheld that information? Whether management was aware about that event, that this is going to happen. Mostly management was aware because you already have some conditions or evidence occurring on the date of financial statement. Okay, if that is a scenario, then you will ask management why you withheld that information, why you did not share that information with us. Is something that has been missed from our side, or you purposefully or intentionally withheld that information? So first of all, you will discuss the matter with management. Then, once you discuss the matter with management, or let's say those charged with governance, you will understand the impact on the financial statement or whether financial statements require any amendment. For simple example, there was a litigation going on before the closure of financial year. That information was purposefully, not shared with the auditors. Audit report was issued, everything was done, and auditors somehow did not come to know about that litigation because that was a local authority. Okay, litigation with a local authority, and there were no communications, and there were no, you can say portals from where it could be verified. Now, once that litigation was there in the media, in public, okay, it became a news, and everyone was talking about that, company is facing a litigation from the local authority, and auditor came to know. So this, from the news, auditor came to know about that particular fact of the litigation that was already conditions and the events of which were already existing at the date of financial statement. Now for that, what you will do is you will discuss first of all with management why you did not disclose. Number two, what is the impact of litigation on the financial statement, whether it has been disclosed appropriately. If it is not been disclosed, then whether financial statement require amendment. So you need to understand whether in such scenarios financial statements are correct or they require any amendment. So determine whether FS require any amendment. If they require, then you need to ask the management how now you will address this, how you now will amend the financial statement. Okay, so if so, then ask management how they plan to address the matter. So there could be certain scenarios which, auditor comes to know after the issuance of audit report, which was not disclosed to auditor. For such events, they will be, falling under this particularly, that the facts which become known to the auditor after the date of audit report, but before the date of issuance of financial statement. I'm talking about before issuance of financial statement, means financial statement are not yet issued to the general public. Simple. Okay. Now from here, there could be two scenarios. One, management amends the financial statement. Second, management rejects or management deny to amend the financial statement. In both of the scenarios, what auditor is required to do, we need to understand. Okay. Now the first scenario, if management amends the FS, you guys tell me what you would do. If management amends the FS, then what you would do on that amended FS? What do you think you should do? Anyone? What you would do with that amended FS? Simple.
Sir, we will check whether the management has properly amended the financial statement and in the proper head it will put the amount, and whether these financial statement are so that much of material that affect the auditor's opinion in at the time of issue of audit report.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Something more to add? Anyone?
If management is amending financial statement, first I will check whether the amendments that are there that has been made by the management are in line with the requirement that has to be there, and what assumptions and what policy they have taken and how the effect have been taken in the financial statements, whether it is retrospective or prospective. I will check into that.
Okay, very good. Yes, yes. Anyone would check the financial reporting framework whether that allows the amendment or not.
Yes.
Let's say tomorrow your financial reporting framework doesn't allow the amendment. Management is ready to amend, but financial reporting framework says once FS are issued, you should not be amending.
So there is non-compliance with the accounting frameworks. So the overall financial statement will not depict true and fair view of the financial statements.
So in that scenario, we need to understand first the requirement of financial reporting framework. If management is ready to amend, first we will go and check whether the regulation or financial reporting framework prohibits the management from restricts the management from the amending the financial statement. Because in certain case, yes, there are certain regulations, which restrict the management from amending the financial statement irrespective of what. Okay, so you need to first check the applicable financial reporting framework or regulation. Okay, whether they allow amendment to FS. Okay, if they do not prohibit or if they allow amendment, okay, then auditor is required to perform some procedures. Then I will go and ask management to amend. Okay, management, now you please amend. FRF doesn't stop you to amending. Okay, so whatever procedures are there for the amendment of financial statement, you perform. Okay, now beyond that, like once the amendment is done, okay, in that case, what I will do as an auditor is, first of all, I will perform audit procedures on that amended portion. Okay, so I will carry out audit procedures on amendments. Okay, to understand whether these amendments, okay, whether these amendments are in line with the financial reporting framework or the applicable financial reporting framework, the way it wanted to disclose the event, whether the events are disclosed in such a way or not. Okay. So carry out those audit procedures on the amendment, number one. Number two, you will issue a new audit report on the amended FS, which is not dated earlier than the approval of amended FS. So you may issue new audit report on amended FS, which should be dated later than the approval of amendment FS. So means the FS which are amended are approved somewhere in the month of August. Your new audit report should be dated later than that. Okay. Audit report on amended FS dated later than your new amended FS. Okay. So this is what I will do when there is an amendment and management performs the amendment. Now question comes is, sometimes we are not required to issue new audit report. Okay. In certain cases we cannot issue audit report. We may amend the audit report in that case. So for example, law or financial reporting framework or some regulations are there which restrict the amendment to the financial statement and to the audit report. Okay, and auditor is not allowed to amend the audit report or issue new audit report. Okay, in that case I may amend the audit report. like by adding one more date to the audit report, okay, saying that, okay, this is the audit report which was issued, I will add one more date, and I will say that, okay, the audit report of this particular date includes only procedures performed on this amendment. So in my audit report, by adding an additional date restricted to that particular amendment, I will indicate, okay, that these are the procedures that have been performed. In that particular financial statement note, wherever the subsequent information or that fact has been disclosed in the financial statement, I will reference that in my amended audit report. I will put the additional date, and then I will, say that, okay, additional procedures performed. Clear? Any doubt till now? Okay. So when you will issue new audit report, do you think you are required to mention something in your new audit report that this is a new audit report or something like that? Because if you are issuing new audit report which is dated later, then let's say, for example, I'll give you with an example. For example, old AR audit report was of 30/6/2024. New AR is of 39/2024. Okay, new or amended AR is of 39/2024. Now you issued this new AR. You asked management, scrap the old one I am issuing because I am required to date later than the new amended financial statement. Okay, so I dated later than the new amended financial statement. But now there is another thing, that if the new AR date is of 39/2024, would you say that, okay, the financial statement close and the new AR date, which is here, 39/2024 new AR date. So this whole particular period is now subsequent event. And you need to perform procedures. Would you say that? From starting here to here, would you call this period now as a subsequent event period? Because this is happening between the date of your financial statement and the date of audit report. You change the date of audit report. Now the period of that, earlier I was covering the subsequent event over here. I was taking the subsequent events for which I need to perform audit procedures were restricted till here. Now, because of the change of the audit report date, will you extend the period of the subsequent event for which you need to perform the procedures? What you will do? So the question is that earlier the periods for which I was supposed to perform audit procedures was small, that is 31 March 2024 till 30th June 2024. But now I changed the date of audit report. So any event occurring between the date of financial statement close and the audit report becomes an event for which I need to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So am I required to perform then additional procedures for events that are falling under that bucket, the new period? What you will do?
तो सर इस कंसर्न में अगर यही होता रहेगा तो फिर ऑडिटर की रिपोर्ट इशू कब होगी?
That is the thing we need to understand. So for this purpose, for this matter, we need to add something to our audit report to disclose that, okay, this is the amended or new audit report. Okay, and our subsequent events were restricted to this date only because this is the new audit report. So I will add in my audit report for this particular purpose, I would add a EOM or OM paragraph. First of all, that it will include that the auditor's procedure are restricted on subsequent events are restricted to this particular date. Subsequent events are restricted to the original AR date and additional procedures on the amendment have been performed till this particular date. Okay, and additional procedures on whatever amendment it may be with respect to your financial statement. Okay, so additional procedures on amendment have been performed till whatever date it is there on the financial statement. Okay, so you can say that, okay, this particular event happened on this particular date and our additional procedures are to this particular date only, till the time of that event only or the amendment only. So additional procedures on amendment have been performed till new date, whatever your new date will be. And you may provide a reference to the financial statement if there is a relevant note in the financial statement. Clear? So by this way, you will be able to bring the attention of the users. Okay, this is the new or amended audit report. Our procedures on the subsequent events are restricted on the financial statement or the audit report or this particular date only, beyond which we have only checked the amendment part. We have not done anything else. So don't understand that the subsequent event, the audit procedures on subsequent events are till 30th September. No, they are till 30th June only, the original audit report, beyond which we have just performed the audit procedures on amended or amendment which was there to the FS. Clear? Any doubt? Okay. If no further doubt, now comes the second part where management says, okay, I will not amend. Or management, is not in the position to amend. Sometimes, they want to amend, but they are not in a position to amend because of XYZ reason, or they are not agreeing to amend the financial statement. Simple. If management says, we will not amend. If management does not amend FS. Now, in this scenario, what you will do? If management is saying, okay, we will not amend, what you will do? What you will do in this scenario?
I will look into the materiality of the event that has been occurred after that balance audit report date. Whether if it is of a kind which requires amendment to financial statement, but even that management has not amended the financial statement, that will trigger to the fraud risk factor and objectivity integrity of management. I will look into that.
Okay. Here, for this particular scenario, we are only talking about events which will cause amendment to the audit report. If there is an event which will not, trigger an amendment to the audit report, if known earlier, I will do nothing for sure. I will scope out that event at the start only. So I will proceed further for the fact for which requires amendment to the audit report if I would have known earlier. Okay, so I am from the start only, we are talking only about material facts, okay, that will cause the amendment to the audit report. Now, let's say after knowing that particular material fact which will cause the amendment to the audit report, and management is not ready to amend, what you will do? Anyone?
So I would seek for legal advice, and also would ask management why they are not amending such financial statements. And accordingly, I will assess and give my audit report,
Okay.
revised opinion.
Okay. So here, if I talk about in this particular scenario, okay, now I'm talking about date after the date of audit report, means audit report has been issued. Okay. Now, if audit report has been issued, then but not financial statement are not issued, means financial statement and audit report are not shared with the general public or the third parties. So what I will do is I will ask management and those charged with governance, and I will ask management and those charged with governance, please do not circulate the audit report. Okay. I will ask them, please do not issue the financial statement or audit report to the third parties. Issue FS/audit report to third parties. Okay. Till the time you make necessary amendments, and still if they circulate, okay, if still management or those charged with governance circulates, then only one option is left: seek appropriate legal advice or take appropriate action to prevent reliance on audit report. Okay, then take appropriate action to prevent reliance on audit report. Basically, let's say for example, if you are becoming aware that management has circulated that financial statement and audit report to regulatory or to some regulator, okay, in that case, after seeking legal advice, you may issue a letter to the regulator, or you may write a letter to the regulator or regulatory authority that please do not rely on this audit report because of these XYZ circumstances, and we have asked management for not circulating the audit report, but that still has been circulated. So something like that, one example. Okay. So based on this, you will be able to take appropriate actions, and you will be able to prevent reliance on the audit report. But again, after seeking the legal advice, whether that is supposed to be done or this is how it's supposed to be done or not, it's not a plain yes or no answer, because this involves a lot of legal complications. So you need to understand from that point of view. Clear?
So whether auditor is under any requirement to issue public announcement regarding that audit report, which is issued without his consent. So he's not responsible for any decision that will be taken based on that audit report.
See, if that report is of such nature that has been issued to a larger public, okay, and again, that depends upon the matter. What is the matter of dispute? Like whether it's a clear-cut matter or it's a gray area, or at a lot of times, the matters are such that management and auditor have a difference of opinion. In that case, it is not a plain and simple answer for the public announcement. But again, if you think your professional judgment, your professional opinion is correct, you have taken the legal advice which allows you to do so, then auditor may issue a public announcement in that regard.
And for such public announcement, he is not required to take permission of that management also, no?
Usually we keep informed management. See, now it is not like that I will do without intimation to the management. So whatever we do, we inform management that management, we are going to take this action. If you want us not to take, please perform these things, like, amend the financial statement, or you issue a circular that, okay, or advertisement that this, please do not rely on the audit report, or something like that. And after giving the intimation and the notice, if they still don't go, or if they still don't perform, then only you take action.
If legal advice also suggests us to give such a public announcement, so whether such kind of public announcement we have to make in only newspapers or other on the website of company also we can make announcements like that in practical case if you want to sort that.
See, in till now, I have not seen any practical case where, after issuance of the audit report or financial statement requires any amendment. So there is no precedent available, like how the public announcement or how the situations to be dealt. But as such, as I say, there is no precedent available. You may choose to, but the point is how the management has circulated that report. So usually it should be on the same platform. Let's say if management has made that report available online, somehow you need to bring attentions of the reader. Please don't rely on that report to that extent, the where it has been circulated.
Yes, sir.
Any further doubts? Any questions till now on this particular part for the facts which have become known to the auditor after the date of audit report, but before issuance of financial statement? Any doubt on this one? Okay. If no doubt, now we will discuss the third part. That is the fact which are known after the date of audit report and issuance of financial statement. Means these are the events which fall under this category. For time being, I'll remove this one, because this will create a confusion now. Okay. I'm talking about these events, or basically I still call them as a facts. Facts become known to auditor that requires amendment to AR. Okay. Now for these facts, whatever we have discussed till now, for the facts that are there between the date of audit report and the issuance of financial statement, for this facts also the same is applicable. So here also it is same. I need to respond appropriately. That's it. I need to respond appropriately to these facts also. So it is not something new that we need to do. Whatever we have understood, whatever we have learned for the events after the date of audit report, but before the date of issuance of FS, the same we would require to do here. For the facts that have been known, which become known to the auditor after the date of financial statement have been issued, which if known earlier would have caused the auditor to amend the audit report. So here it is the same what we discussed in the last for the facts between the date of audit report and the date of issuance of FS. So I will write here, and for facts after date of issuance of FS. That's it. So this is the next one, date of issuance of FS. There is no change in the procedures that you will perform. So basically, if there is a fact that you come to know once the financial statement are issued, if there was something present on the date of financial statement, that is 31st March, if you would have known earlier, that would have caused you to amend the audit report. Means they are material, okay, to FS, okay, and opinion. In that case, I would repeat the process again, that okay, I will respond appropriately by discussing with the management. I will determine whether FS requires any amendment. If so, I will ask management, how do you intend to address this matter in the financial statement? If management amends, I will check for the FRF whether they allow or not. I will carry out the procedures. I will then issue a new or amended audit report with the EOM or OM paragraph or information that okay, this is something, subsequent events are till this particular date, beyond which we have only checked amendment. If management does not amend financial statements, in that case, I will, ask management, okay, if you do not, amend the financial statement, now I will seek legal action. I will seek, legal advice to prevent reliance on the audit report. So this particular part that ask management to not to issue the FS will not be there because FS are already issued. So except for this particular part, everything will be same. Any doubts? Any doubts till now? No? Okay. If no doubts, quickly we will be reviewing this particular part from the study material. Okay. What we will do is we'll go to the study material. We'll see how it is given in that so that you can get familiar with the particular whole topic from the study material also. So at the time of reading or revising from the study material, you will be able to understand, okay, this is how given it is given in the study material, and this is how what we have discussed in the class and what we have discussed in the lecture and session and how it correlates to my notes. So you will be able to understand the study material much more with much more clarity. So let's go. Okay. So we have this SA 560 subsequent events chart in the study material. Now see over here also, the scope of the essay is subsequent events that we discussed already. Now subsequent events is nothing but the events between the date of financial statement and the date of audit report. Plus they are the facts. Again, I'm not talking about the event word, but I'm using the word facts. Facts that become known to auditor after the date of audit report. Because for both of the things, before the issuance of FS, after the issuance of FX, for both of these facts, my procedures are same. There is no difference in the procedure. Okay. So after the date of audit report, whatever facts you come to know, you have a same procedure. Okay. So these are the subsequent events, two types, one events and one facts. Now let's talk about auditor's objective. So what is the objective with respect to the events and what is the objective with respect to the facts which is given in the study material. So if you see for the events, you need to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. For the events, you need to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding their adjustment and disclosure in the financial statement that we have discussed. And for the facts, you need to respond appropriately. Now we will see here also that if you see, this is the respond appropriately part. Okay. And this is the audit procedures for sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. That is, you need to consider the auditor's risk assessment again. Okay. Then if events are identified, then you need to see whether they are appropriately reflected in financial statement. You need to obtain written representations that we already discussed. Okay, you need to perform audit procedures that we have discussed, like you will ask management, you will check, you will read the minutes and everything. Okay, for facts that are known after the date of audit report, whether it is before the date of financial statement issued or after the date of financial statement issued, the procedures that this respond appropriately are same. Like discuss with the management, determine whether financial statement needs amendment, inquire with the management how they are going to amend the financial statement. If management amends, then either amend the audit report or provide a new audit report with EOM or OM paragraph. If management doesn't amend, then audit report not yet provided, then ask management to not to issue. If audit report has been provided, okay, so not issue to the third parties, and if still issued, then take appropriate action to prevent reliance on the audit report that we discussed. Same way over here also. Like if management agrees, then fine. If they doesn't agree, then you need to perform these procedures that we discussed. Okay, so if steps taken, then new or amended report with EOM or OM paragraph. If steps not taken, then prevent reliance on the audit report. This was your essay 560 from your study material in a summarized form. Okay, and you have then test your understanding, which is very good and appropriate. I would request everyone to go that test understanding. That will really help you to understand the topic with an example. Okay, any doubt till now? No? No doubts? Okay. If no doubts, then let's solve some questions on this particular topic so that we can have a good clarity about this. Okay. Let me bring up the questions on this particular topic. Okay. Okay. So this is the question, that is, after signing the audit report of ABC Limited for FY 2021, but before issuance of financial statement by the management, the auditor of ABC Limited identified that management misappropriated the loan funds raised by them for expansion by transferring them into the subsidiaries. As a result, there was a breach of loan covenant, and because of which the consortium of banks decided to revoke the loan facility of ABC Limited and issued a demand notice for immediate payment of all the outstanding amount. Auditor of ABC Limited was not able to identify this issue earlier because of the falsification of the bank documents by the management. The loan amount was material for the financial statement as a whole. If this information was available to the auditor before signing the audit report, then the auditor would have qualified his opinion. Moreover, after identifying this information, the auditor inquired with the management as to why this information was kept hidden and requested management to amend the financial statement by disclosing the breach of loan covenant appropriately as per the applicable financial reporting framework. However, management contended that once audit report is signed by the auditor, then auditor cannot inquire with the management for any matter, nor he can amend the audit report. Now, auditor has approached you for the legal advice. You need to guide the auditor by providing the appropriate course of action. Okay, you tell me what auditor should do in this particular scenario. Take a minute, read the question again, and then try to answer. So, what auditor should do in this particular scenario? We have discussed this one just now. What auditor should do in this particular scenario? No one? Okay, I'll tell you. See, now here, if you see in the question that there are two critical information which has been given. Number one, that is, first of all, there is a misappropriation of loan funds. Okay, raised for the expansion. And that was before issuance of financial statement by the management. Okay, so this is something fact which are known to be, which have become known to the auditor after the date of audit report, but before the issuance of financial statement. After signing of audit report, but before issuance of financial statement. So I would say this is a fact before issuance of financial statement, but after date of audit report. Okay. Now, if that is material, then only I go and perform procedures. So I need to check whether this is material. Answer is yes, because in the question itself, it is written that if this information was available to the auditor before signing the report, then the auditor would have qualified his opinion. Means if this information would have known to auditor before issuing the audit report, this would have caused him to amend the audit report. Means this is something that would require amendment in the audit report. Now I need to perform the procedures. Okay. Yeah. Now I need to perform the procedures. I need to respond appropriately to this. So auditor's objective is to respond appropriately. Okay. After responding appropriately, I need to ask management whether you are amending the audit report or not. If management does not amend, okay, in that case, I need to first of all ask management, please do not issue the report. Do not issue the financial statement and the audit report. And if still they issue, then I need to prevent reliance on that. So in this case also, management is saying that, okay, once audit report is signed, then auditor cannot inquire with the management is incorrect, because as a part of responding appropriately, I have to inquire with the management. Remember that we saw that when we have to respond appropriately, the first thing is we need to discuss the matter with management. So the management contention that, okay, you cannot inquire with us is incorrect. I can inquire with the management and I can amend the audit report also if management is ready to amend the financial statement, provided your financial reporting framework allows you. So if financial reporting framework allows you, management amends the EFS, then I can amend the audit report. Perfectly fine for me. And management's contention that you cannot is incorrect. So here I need to ask management that do not circulate, okay, the FS and audit report, and still if they circulate, then prevent reliance on that. Okay, prevent reliance on audit report. You need to take appropriate actions. So this is what you should do as an auditor. And when you will write answer, you need to start with that, okay, as per SA 560, what is the responsibility or the objective of the auditor for these type of events? Okay, you need to provide SA 560 first, then you need to discuss the particular case scenario, and then you need to conclude with this, that okay, auditor should do this thing in this particular scenario, and management's contention is not correct. Clear? Any doubt till now? No doubts?
सर
Yes.
यानी जब हम समझते हैं और पढ़ते हैं तब हमें सब कुछ याद रह जाता है, बट आपने जैसा बोला था कि यानी जो चैप्टर 5 है उसके क्वेश्चन आंसर्स लिखना, लिख के टेस्ट करना, तो जब लिखने बैठते हैं तो ये पर्टिकुलर वर्ड्स दिमाग में आते ही नहीं है, बहुत मुश्किल हो जाती है लिखने में एक्चुअली। तो
Yes.
यानी पूरा आंसर डिफरेंट हो जाता है, हमने जो लिखा वो और जो बुक में लिखा है वो।
Correct. Yes, because that's why I think understanding the topic is one thing, that we are understanding the topic, we are gaining the understanding about the topic. Writing in the answer is a secondary thing, is a second part, which also you need to understand how to write the answer, and that will come by practice. So if you'll write multiple times to answer on the same topic, and if you'll evaluate your answers, okay, where it is going wrong, you will gradually, come to know, okay, these are the words I need to write. And even in the lecture also, what we do is, let's say for example, here, like respond appropriately, the word facts that I am highlighting again and again. So
यस
these are the things, or these are the terminologies that we also need to use when we are writing the exam.
यस
So that will happen once you will, write more and more questions. You will evaluate your answers. You will give mock test papers, and other like there are other materials also on the BOS portal that you can use. Okay, like there are additional questions that you can answer. By that way, you will improve your answer writing skills.
यस सर, थैंक यू सर।
Any further doubt, guys? Any doubts? No? Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. Try to grasp whatever we have discussed, and after the break, we'll continue the session. Okay. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. Ashok ji? Ashok ji? Thank you, sir. Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you have refreshed. Now let's proceed with the next topic for the today. Okay. So what is the next topic that I want to discuss? The next topic is very important topic. One of the very important and you can say one of the critical topics it is. It is going concern. SA 570. Okay. SA 570 going concern. Okay. Now the question when it comes to the going concern, first of all we need to understand what we have understood what is going concern. Okay, what is going concern basis of accounting, and that we have already studied till now. Now we need to understand who is responsible for what, and then how and what auditors responsibilities are there. Once we understand the responsibilities of others with respect to that, so first we will understand who is responsible for what with respect to the going concern. And then we will understand the auditor's responsibility. Along with this, when we will understand the whole going concern thing, we will understand few terms, few scenarios, okay, that we need to keep same when we are writing the exam or on writing the questions also. So this particular term or the terms that we will discuss, please do not change. These will be the key terms. You have to keep it in the similar way. They have a specific meaning and we will discuss their specific meaning also. Okay. So these are the things that we will discuss for SA 570. Now, first tell me what is management's responsibility with the going concern? Anyone? What is the management's responsibility with respect to the going concern? Anyone?
Sir, if there is any circumstances occurs when the going concern will come into the problem of the entity, then management should properly disclose in the financial statements that the business is not
Business will not be going
continue.
or yeah.
Business will not be continue as a going concern.
Okay. Very
And
good.
with the proper reason.
Okay. Good. Anyone else would like to add something to the management's responsibility? Anyone? Okay. Basically, first and prime responsibility lies with the management. Understand that. When I talk about going concern, what is the management's responsibility? Management responsibility is not only to disclose matters with respect to going concern. Disclosure comes, yes, disclosure is a responsibility, but whether the disclosure is only responsibility, answer is no. So management's responsibility or who is primarily responsible, we need to understand. Now here, the responsibility of management is to perform an assessment. First of all, management will perform an assessment. Okay, this is the assessment I'm performing, which will give me whether the entity's ability to continue as a going concern is present or not. So management responsibility is to perform assessment of an entity's ability to continue as going concern. Okay, this particular term, again, I have specifically for the purpose written this term separately. This term, assessment of an entity's ability to continue as a going concern. I can also write, okay, management needs to check whether entity can continue as a going concern or not, whether entity is a going concern or not. You may say it has a similar meaning, but no. I am here specifically talking about an assessment of the entity to check the ability of the entity to continue as a going concern. Okay, so this is a very key term. This is known as a going concern assessment also. Okay, this is known as a going concern assessment. So should I write in the exam as a going concern assessment? Answer is no. You need to write this particular term as assessment of entity's ability to continue as a going concern. You can say this is a key term. Okay, wherein management will check whether entity is a going concern, whether entity has the ability to continue in coming future or not. Okay, so that is the responsibility of the prime responsibility of the management. Disclosure comes, yes, after this the disclosure will come, but first is to perform this assessment. Okay, then comes the responsibility of the auditor. Now this is the basic responsibility of the management, and then you have the responsibility with respect to the disclosure in the FS as per applicable financial reporting framework. If there is any event and all that stuff, we will see. But this is the prime responsibility of the management. Now comes the responsibility of the auditor, or what is the role of auditor when it comes to the going concern. Responsibilities of auditor, or you can say objective of auditor with respect to going concern. Now tell me, what do you think is a responsibility or objective of the auditor with respect to going concern? What auditor is required to do? Pretty straightforward and simple question. What auditor is required to do?
Sir, the auditor should check whether the the assessment done by the management for the going concern abilities, whether this assessment is proper, appropriate or not, and whether this kind of whether there is any threat to the going concern of the entity. The auditor should check that also.
Yes. Very good. Yes. Anyone else? Anything they would like to add? No? Okay. So, as correctly said, the first important responsibility or the objective of the auditor is to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding one, that is appropriateness of management's use appropriateness of management use of going concern basis of accounting. Concern basis of accounting. Okay, in the preparation of FS. So that is the first thing that auditor will verify whether management, when management has used the going concern of basis of accounting, whether that basis of accounting is correct in preparation of FS or not. Second and very important part, to gather evidence, sufficient and appropriate audit evidence about that whether again, now this is very important term that you need to understand, a material uncertainty exists about the entity's ability to continue as going concern. Again, I will highlight this part. Okay, this is a key term that we need to understand. Now, what is this term? Entity, whether a material uncertainty exists, okay, about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. What that means? Simple, it says that is there any event that is casting a significant doubt, that is making auditor to believe that okay, the entity will not be able to continue as a going concern. So is there any evidence available about any such event? So that when I say that event is available, that is the event that may transform into a material uncertainty. Okay, so as of now, understand that there could be certain events or conditions that is creating doubt, that may cast significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. For example, company is company is doing heavy losses. There is a cash flow problem. Financing is not available. So there are events or conditions that are pointing towards a material uncertainty. So there is an uncertainty. And when I say uncertainty, I need to talk about material. So if the uncertainty is smaller in size, that will not impact going concern. I have to talk about material uncertainty that is very big, that is going to impact the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So is there a material uncertainty? And that comes from the events and conditions that cast significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay, so is there any material uncertainty present? First of all, we need to check as an auditor. Now that material uncertainty can be related to the events and conditions that are causing auditor to believe that entity will not be able to continue as a going concern. So remember this as a key term. So I am talking about over here the events and conditions that are, you can say, casting or pointing towards something or some scenario that will cause entity not to continue as a going concern. So events and conditions that are pointing towards or that are creating doubt. In auditor's view about entity's ability. Okay, This is the term, understanding of the term, but I will write as a whether a material uncertainty exists about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Instead of writing this big, you can provide the same meaning with this key term. So this key term is very, very important. Okay. So that is the first responsibility. We understood that to check appropriateness of management of use of going concern basis of accounting. That is fine. Second one, we understood that we need to check and conclude on the material uncertainty. Okay. About the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Now, the third responsibility of the auditor comes as a reporting responsibility under this act, say, to report as per SA 570. Okay, this is to report in accordance with accordance with this SA on going concern or entity's ability to continue as a going concern. This is the third responsibility of the auditor. And all these responsibilities and objectives, we need to understand in detail how to fulfill or how to achieve that. Clear? Any doubt till now? Very important, because these are the key terms that you need to remember. Trust me. When writing the exams, if you can write these key terms, that will not only enhance the understanding of the answer, but also will, user will also be able to understand, or the reader will also be able to understand that, okay, what you have written, what you want to convey. So the reader of the answer will, able to get much more clarity when you use these terminologies. Any doubt?
Yes, sir. This the key term you have written. This is explains much in small words.
Yes. So there is one more key term that we will be also talking about in some time. That is actually more detailed explanation of material uncertainty. That will come in a while. We will see that term also. But as of now, understand that, okay, these are the two key terms that you need to remember. There will be one more that we will see.
Okay.
Any doubt with respect to these terms or the primarily or preliminary understanding of SA 570? Okay. Now, see, again, what we need to understand here, first of all, so we need to understand it is not necessary that all the events and conditions will cause, entity's ability, will impact negatively to the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Not all the events are of such nature. It may be, that events are big, they are material, but not necessarily they will impact entity's ability. No. So that's why we have to bifurcate those events into categories to understand in much more detail, okay, what this event is and to which category it belongs. Okay. And that is the first thing that we need to understand is events and conditions. So first comes events and conditions that cast significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So that is the first stage. So whenever you identify something, let's say, some news is there, company is doing huge losses, you identify some conditions, you identify some events. So first step is that you identify events and conditions that cast significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay. Let's say I identified those events. I have identified those events. Can I say then management has incorrectly used going concern basis of accounting if I have identified those events? What do you think? If I identified these kind of events, can I say management has incorrectly used going concern basis of accounting?
Sir,
Yes or
if
no?
the events or conditions are not that much of affecting the uh, business or life of the entity, then it is then we can say that the management is misusing this. Going.
Okay. Yes. So that means it is not necessary that if the events and conditions are present, that means going concern of basis of accounting is not required to be used. No. If you have events and conditions, still management can use going concern basis of accounting, provided there are certain additional things, mitigating factors which are there. So, not it is not necessary that the events and conditions means going concern of basis of accounting is incorrect. No. Once you identify events and conditions, you need to understand whether there is a material uncertainty. So, with this respect to these events and conditions, is there a material uncertainty rising from these events and conditions? So, material uncertainty related to the events or conditions that may cast significant doubt about significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So, I would check this thing that whether these events and conditions are giving rise to material uncertainty. Okay. Then only I will proceed accordingly. Only events and conditions are not something, which may ask me to say to management, okay, management, do not use going concern of basis of accounting. No. First, I need to check from these events and conditions, is there a material uncertainty coming out of it? So I need to check about the material uncertainty, which is coming from those events and conditions. If I identify, okay, there is a material uncertainty from those events and conditions that are casting significant doubts on entity's ability to continue as a going concern, then I will check still whether going concern basis is appropriate or not. There could be a scenario that after having material uncertainty, I say going concern use or going concern basis of accounting is perfectly fine. It is not necessary that material uncertainty means should going concern basis of accounting should not be used. So again, the point here I want to explain from these two things is events and conditions or material uncertainty is not equal to not using the going concern basis of accounting. The reason, because there could be additional factors that will be present that will, allow still entity to continue as a going concern. Reason, because that's why I'm saying it is an uncertainty. If it was a certainty, then I would have said, okay, going concern basis is not appropriate. But I'm saying there is an uncertainty, although material, but still uncertainty. There could be, the scenario, yes, company is getting closed, or there could be a scenario, no, company may continue. So I am still not sure. That's why I'm using the word uncertainty with the materiality. Okay. If this was a material certainty, then you would have said this, okay, now management should not use going concern basis of accounting because there's a material certainty. But still, I'm the term which is being used, the material uncertainty as of now. Okay. It is material enough to require a disclosure, to require additional procedures, but not that much enough that will ask management or that should force management to prepare the financial statement on some other basis, on liquidation basis, or not on basis of going concern. Okay. So there is a difference between both that we need to remember throughout the session. Clear?
Sir, it means even if there are not such that conditions which affect materially, then also the management should disclose in the financial statement the entity would about the ability of the continue as a going concern. And if there are some material uncertainty, अगर वहां पे कुछ मटेरियल हमें ऐसा लगता है कि यानी ये गोइंग कंसर्न को अफेक्ट करेगा, तो मैनेजमेंट को फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में डिस्क्लोज करना चाहिए कि इस तरीके का इवेंट हुआ है जिसके कारण हमारा जो एंटिटी है वो आगे गोइंग कंसर्न यानी आगे will not be continue as a going concern, so that the users can get aware about that. Is it now?
In both of the cases, when I say there is a material uncertainty of, or in the case where I say, okay, the use of going concern basis is not appropriate, in both of the cases, management has to disclose in the financial statement about material uncertainty and that particular event that is causing management not to use the going concern basis.
Yes, sir.
If there is only material uncertainty, still management has to disclose. And management has to say in their report, okay, there is a material uncertainty, we know that, but still because of this reason, we feel the going concern basis of accounting is correct. And that's why we have prepared the financial statement on the basis of going concern basis of accounting. That is also disclosure there. I will show you an example also on that.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Thank you.
Even in certain scenarios, auditor also reports, or even management reports, that there are events and conditions, but there is no material uncertainty. That is also, sometimes reported in the financial statement. When applicable financial reporting framework requires you to disclose that kind of thing, means some events and conditions are there, but that they are not, creating material uncertainty. Only they are creating significant doubt. So once significant doubt, then material uncertainty, and then if there are something more to that, then it becomes, okay, now going concern basis is not appropriate. So this is a step by step, okay, that we need to understand. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's understand. Now we have categorized. Okay, these three categories are there. Category number one, only events and conditions which have a significant doubt. Second, when events and conditions turns into a material uncertainty. And the third condition, when material uncertainty turns into a that going concern basis is not appropriate. Okay. Now we need to understand what audit procedures auditor is required to perform for all of the three categories. And trust me, if you perform procedures for first and second category, by default, you will be performing audit procedures for the third category. No need to perform separate procedures, because from the start, you will check for all the three together. Okay. Now, we will understand the requirements that is there, or what auditor needs to do. requirements, or slash audit procedures. So what we understood earlier is, first of all, I need to check appropriateness of the management use of going concern. Okay, and then I need to check about the material uncertainty, and then I need to do a reporting. So if I need to check appropriateness of the management use, how will I check? Can anyone tell me how can I check that management has appropriately used the going concern basis of accounting? How will I check this? Anyone? We have discussed this in the start of this session about this particular topic. No?
Sir, auditor will check. एक minute. Please 1 minute, sir.
Sure. Meanwhile, anyone else can answer if they want. How to check whether management that has used the going concern basis of accounting, that basis is appropriate or not? No? Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, the auditor can check the financial statement of the prepared by the management, and he can also go through the figures or particulars that management uses, and the ratios also of the financial ratios, also liquidity ratio also the auditor can check. And if and also there is a one the
No issues. Yes, please continue.
If the management have more creditors, and it cannot, it is
It cannot pay.
and
Means more current liabilities. Net worth is not there.
यस सर, यानी ज्यादा टाइम से उन्होंने उस लाइबिलिटी को पे नहीं किया है, और वो ज्यादातर ट्रांजैक्शन कैश में कर रही है एंटिटी, तभी ऑडिटर चेक कर सकता है कि और अगर मैनेजमेंट इंटरिम फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग इशू करता है तो वो वहां से भी रिपोर्ट में इंफॉर्मेशन ऑडिट एविडेंस गैदर कर सकता है. And auditor can also check the minutes of the meeting of the boards and the members. By that also he can come to know about the company's ability to continue as a going concern.
Yes. So absolutely correct. So those are the events and conditions that can cast significant doubt. Now, to understand first of all whether management has used the going concern basis appropriately or not, as I told you in the start, there is a responsibility, management's responsibility, to perform the first assessment. I will check about the events and conditions. That is my second responsibility, to check about the events and conditions that there is a material uncertainty or not. That is my second responsibility, which you answered appropriately correct. But for the first responsibility of the auditor, that is to check management use of going concern basis, I need to check about the management's assessment, which is part of the management responsibility.
Yes, sir.
So what I will do here is that, first of all, I will understand what management has done from their side. So I will understand that whether management has performed a preliminary assessment preliminary assessment of the entity's ability to continue as going concern. Again, I'm writing the full term so that you should remember this term and write in the way that we are discussing in exam. Of the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. I will highlight for you this particular term so that you can remember that this is supposed to be written in this way only. Okay, so I will check whether management has performed the going concern assessment, that is assessment about entity's ability to continue as a going concern. And if such assessment, now there could be two answers. One, management has performed. Yes, management is following their responsibility. Second, management has not performed. They were not aware, or they are not aware, that they have such kind of responsibility. Okay, so there could be two scenarios. Scenario number one, where management says, okay, we have performed this assessment. If this assessment has been performed, okay, the first scenario, if performed, then what? Then determine what events and conditions, okay, individually or collectively, whether events or conditions have been identified, or not what, whether it will be whether events and conditions. Now, there could be one event or condition, there could be multiple events or conditions. Now, a single event may not have that much impact, but multiple events together, collectively, can create a doubt. Okay, so whether events or conditions, again, individually or collectively, whether events or conditions individually or collectively cast significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Now, again, this term is repeated again. So, entity's ability to continue as a going concern. This is the same term that we have discussed above. Okay. But if I add events and conditions to it, events and conditions that cast significant doubt. Okay. So this is the second term that we have discussed. Remember over here, this is the second term, events and conditions that caused significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay, means events that are creating doubt in the mind of auditor that, okay, entity should not continue as a going concern. So any such event has been identified by the management. If yes, then how management plans to address them? And if no, then it is fine. So that's why I wrote whether any event. So if yes, then understand how management plans to address the same. See, if there are events and conditions, management has to take some steps, okay, to conclude whether there's a material uncertainty, to conclude that, okay, going concern basis should not be used. So they have to take some step, or either they need to, disclose, okay, although events and conditions are there, but still we are fine because of this XYZ reason. So they need to perform that kind of assessment and need to address them appropriately. So how they have addressed them, that is the one part. If the assessment was done. Now comes if no assessment is performed, if not performed. This is very critical for us. Now, first of all, if the assessment is not performed, means management is not aware about this kind of assessment, or management has not planned. So this gives a high risk. This is pointing toward the high risk of material misstatement, or it may point out something that, okay, management is not aware about their responsibility. Then there is a high chance that management might have missed out some events or conditions. So this is the already pointing towards high risk. Okay. Now, if such an assessment has not been performed, first of all, discuss with the management. Okay, management, tell me, then how you use the basis, going concern basis of accounting. Okay, if you have not performed that assessment, then how are you sure that the basis you have used for the accounting is correct? Okay, so you need to discuss with the management the basis that is intended to use, or that has been used by management. Okay, the basis for accounting used by management. Okay, whether that is correct or not, how they are sure that is the basis is correct that they used. So you need to discuss about the basis. Okay, and you need to discuss, is there any event? Again, you need to discuss and inquire about events and conditions. Again, that individually or collectively may cast significant doubt about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So you need to discuss and inquire about the event. So ask management, okay, management, you are not perform assessment, perfectly fine. But still, are you aware about such events or conditions? Are you aware about any such area or any such thing that, may create doubt in your mind that, okay, it could impact entity's ability to continue as a going concern or not? So you need to discuss and inquire with the management. And you need to remain alert, like professional skepticism throughout the audit, which is already there in SS 200, that maintain professional skepticism. But again, you need to remain alert with respect to identification for these events and conditions. So I would say maintain professional skepticism for to identify the events and conditions. Such events and conditions. Okay, so you have to maintain that professional skepticism towards those events and conditions you may come to know by doing some other procedures, or by even just if you are reading minutes of the meetings for anything. Let's say, for example, for subsequent events, and by reading minutes of the meeting you come to know about such events and conditions. It may happen. So you are performing procedure for one another essay, that is the let's say subsequent events or related party, but you come to know about this particular event and condition. So it could happen. So you need to be alert throughout the audit. Okay, once you do that, then if management has performed the assessment, then you need to evaluate the management assessment. And how will you evaluate the management assessment? Okay, so evaluation of the management assessment is the next step that you need to do if they have performed. If performed, then evaluate the assessment. Now, how will you do that? Can anyone tell me how will you evaluate the management's assessment? What things you will check when management will perform this kind of assessment? Some specific items that you think you need to check when management is performing this kind of assessment? or how will you check the assessment? Okay. So when management is performing this assessment, you can evaluate the assessment by performing that assessment by yourself. Okay. So you can perform the assessment and then compare the results. So auditor can perform similar assessment and can compare the results. Okay, so you can perform your own assessment and then you can, compare the results with the assessment that has been performed by the management. Okay, has anyone performed this assessment in their assignments or in their what you say scenarios like audit that you have done? Anyone? Have you performed this kind of assessment? No? Okay, no issues. I'll just give you a glimpse of how this kind of assessment is performed basically, or what things we do or we take care about this kind of assessment. Okay, so when we are performing going concern assessment, okay, going concern can be for with respect to different items or different things. It is not like that, okay, I will perform going concern assessment with respect to only internal information like financials, ratios, all those stuff. But it may happen that I am performing through by having much more things into having into consideration. For example, I may consider the external scenario, like, okay, what is the market trend going on, whether the technology that is being used by the entity is new or it's old, whether the machinery that are used by the entity are something which requires a change, or they can management can continue that machinery for next 5 years or 10 years. What is the technology that entity is using, what is the product in which company is dealing into. For example, company is dealing into tobacco products. Now there is a thing which is going on that, okay, soon government will ban the tobacco products. So how the market is there anything which is going on in the market, in the regulatory scenario, which may impact entity's ability to continue as a going concern? Okay, I may go and check, okay, for example, is there anything within the entity, like is the entity doing losses, is the entity having negative cash flow, what is the stage of the entity, what, for example, entity is preparing typewriters. Now we know it's a age of the computers, even AI. So do you think entity's business is going to continue the same way? For example, entity was preparing or into the production of the films which are there in the camera. We have seen that films roll camera. There was a roll of film that was inserted in the earlier cameras, something like that. Or company is into manufacturing of big devices of colleague devices, like what you can say, phones, landline phones or something like that. So those businesses are already outdated with the change in the technology. So you need to evaluate from all the 360 all 360 angles, all the angles about whether there are any conditions or not only financial but operational also. And by performing these kind of assessment, we come to know about, is there any condition or event that is casting this doubt, and accordingly we take action, we perform further analysis or the assessment. Or sometimes we may also contact some specialist to understand this particular scenario, because sometimes it is related to more on the IT side, not on the financial side. So we may take opinion of the expert also. Okay, so this is how in actual, you perform these kind of assessments. Now, once you perform the assessment, you need to make sure that you are taking the similar period that management is taking. Okay, so that you can compare the results. For example, management is analyzing the next 2 years or 3 years for their what do you say, going concern basis of assessment. So you need to also consider the events and conditions for next 2 years. Or is there any period or tenure prescribed by the law, regulation, financial reporting framework? You need to consider that. What if the management only consider next 3 months? Then you need to ask management assessment performed by you even does not cover 12 months. Next, you are only covering next 3 months. This assessment is not enough. So ask management in that case to at least increase the period to 12 months. If they have taken a smaller period, if they have taken a bigger period, then see why the bigger period was taken. What is the appropriate period that should be taken to evaluate the going concern basis of accounting or entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay, so period is very important when we are performing this kind of assessment. Second is the factors that you take into consideration: operational, compliance, financial, external, legal, all things. So important points for assessment. One is the period. Second is the factors. Okay, that you need to consider. And when I say factors, it is the basically you can say relevant information or all information that management has already considered. Okay, so you need to see from all these angles and then you need to compare the result. This is how you will perform an assessment and then you will compare the result to evaluate the management's assessment. Any doubt till now? Any doubt? Okay. Now, let's say you performed your own assessment and you identify certain events and conditions. So you performed your assessment to evaluate management's assessment, and that assessment also become a base for a second responsibility. This particular assessment, auditor's assessment, we call it auditor's assessment assessment of going concern basis. Just a minute. Okay. So this particular assessment is an auditor's assessment of going concern. Now, based on this going concern assessment that is performed by the auditor, this is not only giving audit evidence regarding your first responsibility, that is appropriateness of the management's use, but this is also giving audit evidence regarding the second responsibility of the auditor, that to identify events and conditions about and identify the material uncertainty. So by performing this assessment, you are not only satisfying your first responsibility but second responsibility also. And let's say, for example, after performing this assessment, you identified events and conditions. Events and conditions are identified. Then what you will do? let's say after performing the assessment, you identified those conditions and events. What you will do?
So then we will communicate with about that event or condition to the management, whether they have also come to know about that condition events or not, and whether these are that much of material and required and also affect the entity's ability to continue as a going concern.
Mm.
And if that, then the auditor will also uh, then auditor will suggest the management and that they should properly disclose this in the financial statement.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Yes. Okay. Very good. Now, let's say if you have identified those events and conditions, what you should do basically, first of all, is that first understand whether those conditions were identified by management or not. So there could be two scenarios. One, management already identified those conditions. Second, management has not identified those conditions. Okay. Now, if management has identified those conditions, we can inquire with the management, like, okay, if you identified, then what do you think about these events and conditions? Because events and conditions can cast significant doubt. So events and conditions that cast significant doubts, okay, that cast significant doubt about entity's ability to continue as going concern is not material uncertainty. Remember, it is only a significant doubt. As I told you, these events and conditions that are only casting significant doubt about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay, so they are not the material uncertainty. Till the time, individually or collectively, they are of such nature that they cast or they become material uncertainty. Okay, till the time I cannot see this is material uncertainty. So the first step was events and condition, and then these events and condition can become material uncertainty. So I need to first understand, okay, events condition are there? Yes, they are there. Whether this is giving rise to material uncertainty. Okay, so whether these events and conditions, whether these events and conditions, okay, are pointing towards material uncertainty, whether they are giving evidence about material uncertainty. So whether these events and conditions are providing evidence about material uncertainty. That is the first step I need to do and check. If yes, if they are giving rise to the material uncertainty, then I will check whether management has performed or management has identified this material uncertainty or not. Okay, so there could be two scenarios. If management already identified material uncertainty, and if management has not. It could be there that management has not identified material uncertainty even after performing the going concern basis of assessment. there would be a scenario. So first of all, we need to understand whether management has performed or whether management has identified or not. Okay. If management has not identified, then we may request management to consider or to perform assessment accordingly. Okay, let's say management performed the assessment, but they did not consider this event to be a material uncertainty. I then may, go to management and say to management, please perform your assessment accordingly. Please perform your assessment appropriately. You have missed out this. No, you rectify this assessment and then tell me what you say. What are your plans? So ask management to either perform or to perform appropriately if they have not identified the assessment. Okay. Let's say management has performed the assessment and they have identified this. So I said, okay, management, you identified this. Perfectly fine. Now tell me what is your plan. What are your future plans? So I will understand management's plan in relation to the going concern assessment. Okay, what is the management's plan to address this material uncertainty? Sorry. So let's say, for example, you identified some scenarios or some conditions internally. Let's say cash flow is not good, revenue is not good, company is making losses, management is resigning, key leadership is resigning. You go to management, did you identify this particular events and condition that is giving rise to material uncertainty? Management said, yes, I am sure, I was already aware about this. I know there is a material uncertainty. Then you will ask, what is your future plan? How can you say this material uncertainty is not impacting your going concern basis? So you might have thought as a management, you cannot say that, okay, I know there is a material uncertainty, but I'll see at the later stage, whatever will happen. This cannot be an answer by the management that, okay, we will see at the later stage, whatever happens. They have to come with a plan. Okay, revenue is decreasing, what they will do? Profitability is not there, losses are there, what they will do? How to improve cash flow? That's why the management is there. So you will understand what is your plan to address these kind of events and conditions and material uncertainty. And number two, whether the plans are feasible and their outcome is feasible. So not only the plans, but you need to, as an auditor, evaluate the management's plan to check the outcome, and its feasibility. Now, why to check this one? For example, there was a management was doing losses, revenue was decreasing, okay, costs were increasing. So management came up with the plan. We will introduce new product in the market. Fine, there is a plan, perfectly fine. But there was no demand of the new product. For example, let's say management was manufacturing mobiles. Management was doing continuous losses. No one was there to buy the mobiles because of the quality, okay, and the price. Now management came up with a plan. We will introduce new mobile in the market with a keypad and black and white screen, no touch screen, no 5G support. We will target the customer base which is not able to afford the high-end mobiles. But there is no such customer base available. There is no such demand available. So whatever you are planning, the outcome of that planning is not going to help you. Rather, the R&D, the cost, or the manufacturing cost that you will incur will increase your material uncertainty. So the outcome of the plan, the feasibility of the plan. Sometimes management says, no. I know we are making losses, but what we will do is we will decrease our cost. How? How you will decrease our cost? Do you have anything in your mind? Like you will decrease variable cost, manufacturing cost, employee cost, which kind of cost? So, and if let's say, for example, management says, no, we will decrease our manufacturing cost by 50%. But there is no technology in the hand that will will help management to decrease the cost. There is nothing management can do because they are operating their full capacity, and the variable cost is as less as it can be. So there is no feasibility in the plan. So sometimes, management will come up with a plan which is neither feasible or the outcome is not going to help the management. So you need to, as an auditor, evaluate whether there are such kind of plans management is giving to you. If yes, evaluate the outcome. And then you need to assess, okay, material uncertainty is there, plans are there, but actually whether the plans are there to support the material uncertainty, or plans are something that will make more issue for the management. If the plans are there to support the material uncertainty, like okay, management will improve the situation with the help of these plans, I may say okay, material uncertainty exists, but still the use of going concern basis of accounting is there. Means even having the material uncertainty, management is fine or management is correct by using the going concern of basis of accounting because management has plans. That's why at the start of the lecture I said, or start of this particular topic, that material uncertainty does not mean that using of going concern basis is inappropriate. No, there could be some plans with the management that will improve the management situation in the future. So you need to evaluate whether the use of going concern basis after having material uncertainty on the basis of plan is appropriate or not. Clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you need to evaluate those plans. You need to evaluate the outcome of those plans. Okay. Management sometimes they prepare forecast, cash flow forecast, P&L balance sheet forecast. Okay. If management has prepared forecast, okay, then you need to evaluate the forecast also. Evaluate the forecast. How will you evaluate the forecast? Can anyone tell me? How you will evaluate the forecast? What you will check in the forecast? We discussed this much right now. It's already, we have discussed on this. And in the previous sessions also, if there is something information that is produced by the entity or management expert, how do you verify this particular information? You can understand this forecast is nothing but either information produced by the entity or management expert. And this is something we have already seen in our SA 500. How do you evaluate the information produced by the entity or information that is there given by the management expert? Kind of a recap of SA 500 quickly. No? Simple. I will check the data. First of all, I will check the data that has been used. Okay. I will check the method that has been used, method, assumptions, okay, or models that has been used to prepare the forecast. Remember that we used to do in our SA 500, we discussed that, okay, whenever there's an information, you need to check what is the data that has been used behind that particular calculation or the thing that has been given by a management expert. The method, assumption, model. If actually that has been prepared by the management expert, then SA 500 will be applicable. You need to evaluate the competency, capability, and objectivity of that expert also. Okay. Then you need to understand whether this particular method or assumptions or model used are appropriate in the scenario or not. So if expert If management expert, then CCA, remember competency, capability, sorry, CCO, competency, capability, and objectivity of management expert. You need to verify CCO.
Yes, sir. Now remember.
Accuracy of the data, relevance of the data. So when I talk about the data, it is reliability, accuracy, and relevance. Accuracy, reliability, and relevance of the data. R&R that we discussed. So all these things you need to verify for the forecast. Nothing new that we have already discussed this in HF 500. It's a quick recap of that. So management, if preparing the forecast, evaluate this. Now, one more part that is we need to include here that we just now discussed before the break. That is consideration of subsequent events. That is your SA 560 that we just now discussed. Is there any event after the date of financial statement which is giving me some hint about, there could be an issue? So I need to consider subsequent events to understand, is there any event or condition that is casting significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern, even on the forecast also. So subsequent events are not only restricted for, some adjustment. No, they can also impact on the going concern. So consideration of subsequent events, another important part. And based on this, I will come to a conclusion. Whether material uncertainty is there or not, whether only events and conditions are there, okay, whether the going concern of basis is accounting is appropriate or not. So I will conclude on that. Clear? Any doubt? Any doubt till now?
No doubt, sir. And remember also this.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
Just keep reading and practicing. You will get the things. Don't worry on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now comes the next part. Is the disclosure. Okay. So we did all the audit procedures. These are nothing but the audit procedures we are talking about. In both of the cases, whether management performs the assessment or management does not perform the assessment, auditor has to perform his own assessment, and then auditor has to identify whether is there any event or condition or not. Okay. So once that is done, once you perform your assessment, once you perform your procedures, you consider subsequent events, everything, then comes the opinion part. And that is very important, disclosure and the opinion. Okay. Disclosure and the opinion, very important part. Because based on whatever we have done till now, whatever audit procedures we have performed, we need to conclude on that. Now there could be different type of scenarios. Okay, let's say first scenario, you say, okay, events and conditions are there and a material uncertainty exists, but the use of going concern is fine. Means use of going concern is fine, but still there is a conditions or events and there is a material uncertainty. So the first condition is, or first scenario is, use of going concern basis of accounting is appropriate but material uncertainty exists. Okay, so you are saying that okay, there is a material uncertainty that is there, but still there are plans. We are fine with the plans, and use of going concern basis is appropriate. If that is a scenario, then what management is required to do and what auditor is required to do. Okay, so first we will understand from the management. If that is a scenario, with respect to the management's disclosure, management is required to make disclosure and auditor is required to issue opinion on that. So we'll bifurcate in two sections: auditor's opinion and management's disclosure. So when this type of scenario happens, adequate disclosure is necessary by the management. Adequate disclosure is necessary by the management in financial statement. So management should adequately disclose material uncertainty in financial statement. Okay, management should disclose material uncertainty in financial statement. Simple. Now, based on this, let's say if management disclosed, let's say if management disclosed, management fulfilled their responsibility, what you will do as an auditor? What you will do as an auditor? Let's say management has disclosed this particular information. Tell me what you will do as an auditor. Nothing?
Then auditor will issue unmodified opinions.
Okay, yes. Unmodified opinion, perfectly fine. Good. What else? Anything else you would do? Okay, I'll tell you. If management has disclosed, you will issue unmodified opinion. We are fine with this. But there is additional requirement that you need to include a separate section in audit report that is material uncertainty relating to going concern. Related to going concern. That separate section should contain, number one, reference to financial statement note. Okay, this is a note where management has disclosed about material uncertainty. Go and read. This is very important. You will provide a reference to the note, and then you will explain the events and conditions. So you need to state the events and conditions in that paragraph, saying that okay, these are the events and conditions that are casting significant doubt about entity's ability to continue as a going concern, and our opinion is not modified. So state the events and condition and state that the auditor's opinion is not modified in respect of these events and conditions. Okay. So one, reference to the note, state the conditions, state that auditor's opinion is not modified. Now the question comes is, what if the management has not disclosed? Let's say management has not disclosed. The second point, if management did not disclose, simple, what auditor should do? So earlier we saw that management disclosed, perfectly fine. But what if the management has not disclosed this particular part?
Sir, if management did not disclose this in the financial statement, then the auditor should check about the materiality of the event, and if it is
They are
material,
material. I'm
then
already talking about material uncertainty. Already material.
then auditor should modify his opinion, sir.
Yes. So first I will modify the opinion. Modify the opinion. Plus you need to specify the events and conditions. Where will you specify the events and conditions? Which paragraph? Any idea?
Other matter, no?
No.
In the going concern.
No.
And one is left emphasis.
No. In basis of, we will understand, basis of qualified opinion or modified opinion or whatever, adverse opinion, what kind of opinion you are issuing, basis of that opinion paragraph. So paragraph will be titled as a basis of qualified, modified or adverse opinion. Okay, that will be a paragraph.
Any इवेंट्स यानी हम अपना ओपिनियन इशू करेंगे, उसके साथ में हम इवेंट्स भी डिस्कस करेंगे वहीं पर.
Yes. So once I will, in the first paragraph, I will say my opinion is qualified or I am issuing an adverse opinion. In the next paragraph, that is a basis of qualified or adverse opinion, we will see when we will discuss essay 705 in chapter number 7. At that point in time, we will see the structure of audit report also. But this is the paragraph where we discuss why our opinion is qualified, modified or adverse.
तो सर जो अनमॉडिफाइड वाला जो हमको पैराग्राफ लिखना है वो भी इसी में आएगा, बेसिस ऑफ ओपिनियन?
Yes. No, so even in the unmodified one also, you need to see when you are issuing unmodified opinion, at that time also your opinion and basis of unmodified opinion, both paragraphs are there. But it is an unmodified opinion, so no need to mention about the events and conditions in that paragraph. Rather, we are mentioning in the separate paragraph.
Okay.
So we are not touching the basis of unmodified opinion paragraph, but we are just entering one more paragraph, and over there also we are saying that on basis of our opinion is not modified if management has disclosed appropriately in that paragraph also.
Okay, sir. तो सर जो ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में नंबर 5 पे हम जो पैराग्राफ प्रिपेयर करते हैं 5 और 6 पर गोइंग कंसर्न से रिलेटेड, तो हम उसमें क्या शो करेंगे? सिर्फ इतना इंफॉर्मेशन के एनी एबिलिटी टू कंटिन्यू एज अ गोइंग कंसर्न है या नहीं?
So this is the paragraph that I'm talking about, 5 number 5 or 6, that is material uncertainty relating to the going concern. One is that paragraph.
Okay, sir, clear.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Same way, if you identified the events or conditions, but there is no material uncertainty. Okay. Now, in that case, you again need to think whether any disclosure is required or not. So for material uncertainty, definitely, yes, disclosure is required. But if there are events and conditions, but no material uncertainty, so you need to evaluate whether disclosure of such events and conditions is required or not. Okay, based on the financial reporting framework. The second part is that use of going concern basis of accounting is inappropriate. So this was the first scenario where I said, okay, going concern basis is fine, but material uncertainty is present. Now, second scenario is going concern basis is inappropriate. Okay. So I'm saying use of going concern basis is inappropriate. Scenario 2. Use of going concern basis is inappropriate. In that case, it is the same. There is, if you think the use of going concern basis is inappropriate, okay, in that scenario, simple. There is nothing, you are going to ask management or something, because till now we have done all the procedures and everything, and we feel that use of going concern basis is inappropriate. In that case, there is only one thing that you need to do. Number one, instead of modified opinion, you need to issue adverse opinion. No modified opinion, direct adverse opinion. Reason, because I'm saying the financial statement from start to end, they are prepared incorrectly. I'm saying financial statements from start to end, each and everything is incorrectly prepared. Means I'm saying going concern basis is not there, and they are still being prepared on the going concern basis, means everything is incorrect. How can I issue qualified opinion? This is something which requires adverse opinion. So I will issue adverse opinion in that scenario. And we will see when we will discuss SA 705, what are the things that we need to take care when we issue adverse opinion. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is how this will impact our reporting. This is how these things impact the reporting part. Any doubt till now? No doubts? Okay. And then at the end, you need to obtain management representations. You need to maintain documentations. I am not repeating those points, but those are still there. That you need to communicate with those charged with governance as per SA 260. You need to maintain audit documentation of whatever audit procedure you will perform as per SA 230, and you need to obtain management representations as per SA 580. So I'm not repeating those points that are always there. Okay. So this was your SA 580, which is going concern. SA 570, my mistake, going concern.
सर मैनेजमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन हम यानी सिर्फ हम बोथ द केसेस में लेंगे, या फिर सिर्फ यानी अगर मैनेजमेंट ने
So what we will ask in the representation. So when we will obtain representation, we will ask management that, okay, have you considered all the events and conditions that are casting significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern? Yes. Have you performed the assessment? Okay. Or all that stuff that we are saying here, that we will inquire from management, or we will ask management, okay, in the representation, that confirm us that you have disclosed all the events to us that may cast significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern.
Yes, sir, that will clear and that will help us to perform the further audit procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So if no further doubts, what I propose is, let's keep the discussion till here. In the next section on chapter 6, we need to cover one more standard, and then we need to cover detailed case scenario based question till now, whatever we have discussed, because 570 alone discussing 570 alone is not the scenario, but it can occur with 560 subsequent events. It can occur with related parties. It can occur with 540 estimates, management estimates. So we will see complex questions in the next lecture, where we will be discussing 570 and other your standards also. Okay. And next thing is, please read the chapter. That is very important. In the chapter also, in the study material, after every standard, there are questions. Test your understanding. Please solve these, because that is very important. That will clear your understanding. And even at the end of the study material, after the chapter, you have more case scenarios. Case scenario 1, case scenario 2 with answers, and there are descriptive also. So please practice these. These are really good. These are really important, and that will enhance your understanding about the topic. Okay. So guys, thank you for participating in today's session. I will see you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes.